A very good morning and welcome all of you to the daily news analysis for 26th of April 2025 with me Jatin Verma. In today's news analysis, guys, we are going to talk about why the reports of NCSC, National Commission for Scheduled Castes, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes and NCBC, these are constitutional bodies, why their reports are not tabled on the parliament table on time. It's been 3 years that the reports of these committees have not been these commissions have not been tabled. That deprives the parliament of the data that is required for policy making. So one thing, this now as a response to the this Pahalgam attack, what is happening is Indus Water Treaty, the government has devised a medium term and a long term plan to use the water of the Indus water system in a way to deprive Pakistan and in a way to build more hydroelectric power plants in India. So we are going to discuss about this strategy, and then there are some articles that have appeared in the Times of India, Indian Express, the editorials which talk about the intelligence failure, the security failure on the part of the government of India, on the part of India's security apparatus insofar as securing these tourist hotspots, tourist places is concerned. Okay, so this is there. Let's get started. Our foremost priority, Iran offers to mediate between India and Pakistan. Even as Iran is facing threats from US itself with regard to the nuclear plan of Iran, Iran says that we are ready to mediate between India and Pakistan insofar as this Pahalgam attack related escalation is being witnessed between India and Pakistan. So these are the articles that we are going to discuss. Then India-Bangladesh Ganga Water Treaty that was signed in 1996 during the time of H.D. Deve Gowda as the Prime Minister, that might be in peril in the light of India's abeyance from Indus Water Treaty. So this is a bilateral treaty. This is not mediated by World Bank. So India-Bangladesh, in the light of Muhammad Yunus, the things he is doing to India, we might also not renew this treaty, which is due for renewal in 2026, guys. Okay, then this article is written by Pratap Bhanu Mehta, the Pahalgam Abyss. This editorial is from the Indian Express. We are going to deal with this editorial. Then carrot and stick on Iran and US talks. Carrot and stick policy of Donald Trump, this article talks about. So let's get started. First thing first, Pakistan won't get a drop of water. Our Honorable Jal Shakti Minister is saying that we are devising a long-term strategy. We are devising a short-term strategy, medium-term strategy and long-term strategy as to how to harness the waters of Indus water system. Okay, in the yesterday's news analysis, guys, let me tell you, we had covered this topic from the prelims perspective as to how many rivers are there, which rivers water can be tapped by India, how much water is being tapped by India and how much benefit is going to Pakistan. So Pakistan derives 80% of the water of Indus water system, whereas India derives only 20%. Now, since all the rivers, they originate from India, India might now start constructing the dams. We have been, you can say, we have been very much compliant with this treaty to the last word of this treaty, in the sense that despite the attacks, despite the full-fledged war between India and Pakistan, we have never deprived Pakistan of its share of water from the Indus water system. RCB, Ravi, Chenab and Beas, these three rivers belong to India, and then your CJI, the Chenab, Jhelum and Indus, RBS, sorry, Ravi, Beas and Satluj, these three rivers, they belong to India, and CJI, that is Chenab, Jhelum and Indus, these three rivers water, it goes to Pakistan. Yesterday we had talked about the Kishan Ganga hydel power project, 330 megawatt Kishan Ganga hydel power project. We haven't yet tapped the water. We haven't yet started the Kishan Ganga water hydel power project. So you can cover for the details around the power projects on the Indus water system, you can watch the yesterday's daily news analysis, in which this 330 megawatt power plant thing has been discussed extensively. Then we also discussed about Rattle hydel power project. Okay, so all these things were covered in the yesterday's news analysis. Now the thing is, hyperbole, the so much of hype around the abolition, the holding of Indus Water Treaty in abeyance by India, the suspension of Indus Water Treaty, so much of hyperbole has happened. The sentimental points have been made, emotional response has been made, but are we really able to, are we really in a position to stop the water from flowing into the Pakistan? No, it will be until 2028 we won't be able to construct the reservoir dams that are required of us. Okay, so how are we going to do it? For that purpose, the Ministry of Water Resources of India, that is Jal Shakti Mantralaya, is saying that we are going to have a short-term strategy. In the short term, how much water can we divert towards Punjab, towards the existing dams like Bhakra Nangal Dam, etc. Okay, then we are going to have medium-term strategy. How can we divert the water? How can we utilize the excessive water being diverted from these rivers into micro canal, micro irrigation system in India? Then the long term thing is going to be constructing new reservoir dams. New reservoir dams will be constructed to tap the water of Indus River system. Now I ask you, what is the length of the Indus River system overall? What is the kilometer in, that is the maximum length that flows through any particular state of India, maximum length of any Indus river that flows through any particular river of India. So this Indus river system flows through how many states of India? These are the questions. You need to prepare the map work very particularly. So 3 questions I've asked you with regard to Indus. These are the 3 rivers, Ravi, Beas and Satluj. We have been tapping their water. Okay, but now the Jhelum thing, on Jhelum we want to construct this Kishan Ganga Hydel power project. We have been conceptualizing it, and it is a bone of contention in the Indus dispute tribunal. Okay, the kind of mechanism that we have to resolve the disputes between India and Pakistan, that is permanent Indus commission, then the neutral arbiter, and then finally the arbitration tribunal that will be constituted under World Bank sponsored, World Bank mediated Indus Water Treaty. The 3-tier mechanism, we have discussed about it. Okay, so aside of this hyperbole, you understand, hyperbole is the kind of remarks, only the rhetoric that we are having, that we will abolish, Pakistan will not get a drop of water. Aside of all this, we also need to see India's vulnerability when it comes to Brahmaputra river, Yarlung Tsangpo river that emanates from China, Tibet region, right? So this is the Indus river system, Jhelum, Chenab, these 6 rivers is the Pakistan's primary water source, irrigating 80% of its cultivable land. 80% of Pakistan's cultivable land in hectares, if we see, 16 million hectares, and contributing nearly 25% to its GDP, 21 to 25 as per various estimates. Okay, so why this attack happened? Let's talk about that. The Pakistan's army chief, okay, so the army chief of Pakistan is about to retire. The problem in Pakistan is that whenever the Pakistan army chief is about to retire, so they want to hold on to the position. Since Asim Munir is about to retire, so they want to clinch on to the position. They get, because of the perquisites, the facility, the bungalow, the Mercedes, etc., the facilities that they get as the chief of the Pakistan army, they want to clinch on to that position. The power transition is not as smooth as we see in India. That is why they start ranting about India Hindu-Muslim dispute. They start ranting about these type of things so that they can continue to be in power. Already the elections have not been allowed to happen properly. Those things are happening in Pakistan. Okay, just to cover up its own mistakes, the fledgling economy, the declining economic scenario in Pakistan, the rising unemployment rate. That is why these army chiefs, the army is the de facto real power, in the real source of power, real exerciser of power in Pakistan. So they don't want to, let go of these things, let go of the control. Whenever they face some domestic political scenario, they are going to target India. Proxy war, any attack happens or anything happens. Okay, so this is like putting the blame on Pakistan. We should have been able to anticipate. As per the IB report, as per the India's intelligence gathering infrastructure, which we are going to see in today's news analysis, the IB had warned of this kind of an attack, that some terrorist elements are doing the recce of hotels around Pahalgam, but that was missed out by the state agencies and by the India's home ministry, you can say. So that is why this kind of chinks in the armor, the gaps in the India's security infrastructure or India's security arsenal are very much visible, that need to be tapped. More on this as we proceed. Okay, now a government source indicated that World Bank was not informed as Pakistan had already been notified of India's position. So Pakistan says that this is going to be an act of war. Suspending the Indus Water Treaty is going to be an act of war. We have so far had 4 wars with Pakistan. Despite that, we have never suspended the Indus Water Treaty thing. Now, this is the first time we have done that. Anyways, India's regular communication happens with Pakistan on the hydrological data that we share under the Indus Water Treaty. We have been abiding by every dot, every comma, every phrase of Indus Water Treaty despite the hostilities between the two countries. Now is the time. Now the various countries, the editorials, they are saying that it is a kind of weaponization of water, weaponization of rivers that India is doing, which is not good as a precedent, as an example. Bangladesh will also be a matter of discussion insofar as Ganga Water Treaty between India and Bangladesh 1996 treaty is concerned. Let's proceed further. This is again the same thing is going on. Permanent Indus Commission, the expert teams from both the countries, India and Pakistan, we haven't met. They have not been, the Permanent Indus Commission has not been convened since 2022. Okay, so in 2023, India had called for a renegotiation of this treaty due to number 1, change in population, water needs, climate change threats, and the cross-border terrorism. Okay, yesterday, as I told you, that many prime ministers of India, they said that water and blood, India's water and India's blood cannot be allowed to flow together, in the sense that they are killing our innocent citizens, they are killing our soldiers on the border, and bullets and water, they are flowing together. So that cannot be allowed to happen. India's main request for renegotiation was to develop a new dispute resolution mechanism. Under the Indus Water Treaty, India cannot create significant hydropower storage. So we cannot construct the reservoir dams. The major problem of India is we cannot construct the reservoir dams on the rivers. That is the major problem. Reservoir dams, they help in the sense that when the summer season is there, or when winter season is there, when the winter flow of water is low, then the reservoir dams, the storage that is there, the water that is stored comes to India's rescue, India's farmers, so as to maintain the seamless flow, the consistent flow of water. We need to have these reservoir dams rather than harming Pakistan. Okay, not to talk about harming of Pakistan, what we need is the welfare of our own people. For that also, Indus Water Treaty needs to have a mechanism. That is why on the rational side also, India has sought a review on these grounds. Population has changed. India is world's most populous country if we conduct the latest census. When the treaty was signed in 1960, it wasn't. Okay, then the other thing that has happened is the abrogation, or you can say not living up to the Shimla Agreement of 1972 that was signed in the aftermath of 1971 war. Okay, it was signed between Indira Gandhi and the Pakistani counterpart. Now, following the Pahalgam attack, sources suggest that India will explore options that it has never considered under Indus Water Treaty. Now, coming to the next part, a look at India's anti-terror agencies. Was it a security failure at least? There are two things we need to understand from the perspective of our security, our response. Let's understand them in this manner. There are two aspects to the Pahalgam attack. One is intelligence failure. Intelligence is used to prevent such kind of things. Okay, intelligence failure means to predict, to preempt these kind of things, to not to allow them to from happening. So intelligence failure is more preventive in nature. Okay, we are going to have a look at India's intelligence and security agencies. Then there is a security failure. Security failure means that the area was not secured. When the terror struck, actually, we were not able to save our people, save our people from dying there. Okay, so two aspects to Pahalgam attack, these are there. For these aspects, intelligence failure, IB had warned, Intelligence Bureau had warned the ministry. There was an input, that input was there on April 4, that certain terror elements, certain terror group has told its proxies, its sleeper cells, that they have to do the recce of the Pahalgam hotels. They were doing the recce of Pahalgam hotels as to how can they wage a war, how can they wage an attack over there. So April 4 alert was missed out by IB. This was confessed at the all party meeting by the government. Okay, security failure is why not even a single patrol vehicle was there. Okay, not even a single telecom tower was there to emit these type of signals. Okay, not even a single patrolling vehicle, police patrol vehicle or a booth was there. These articles I have compiled from The Week, India Today, various magazines. Okay, two aspects. Missing out on the intelligence failure, that led to failure of prevention. When the act happened, when the terror struck finally, we were not able to minimize the casualties because CRPF, etc., was not there. Okay. So some security experts, the editorials, people who are writing these days on this matter, they say that after the abrogation of 370, a view was promoted that everything is hunky-dory in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, we became complacent. That is why the security forces were withdrawn. Then some people say that Agniveer type of schemes, after the advent of Agniveer scheme, after the arrival of the scheme, the recruitment to the defense forces has gone down. Army is not being recruited in the armed personnel, 50-60,000 people who are retiring every year. The positions, the vacancies are not being filled up. That kind of a thing led to the withdrawal of Rashtriya Rifles. Okay, the National Rifles, the camps were there in this Pahalgam region 4 years back, 5 years back. Those camps of Rashtriya Rifles, etc., they have been removed. That led to security failure. Okay, Rashtriya Rifles, this has been removed. These are the points that I have gathered after a lot of reading from various newspapers. So you can write down these points for your thing. Rashtriya Rifles, etc., they give the confidence to the people that at least a semblance of, that at least security infrastructure is there, visibility of army is there. Now the government says that the government deliberately do not want to, have the presence of soldiers around the tourist spots. And the other misconception was that Pakistan, its proxies, the terror elements would never attack tourists, as that affects the economy of Jammu and Kashmir, that affects the Muslim people of Jammu and Kashmir. Since it has never happened in Anantnag and this region, Pahalgam region, so it will never happen. They missed out on this point, that the new tactics of Pakistan, the tactics being adopted by Pakistan, would not think of how they will want to affect the economy. They rather wanted to affect the economy of Jammu and Kashmir more, in the light of abrogation of Article 370 and the view promoted in India that abrogation, the deletion of Article 370 is leading to promotion of tourism. 2 crore people, 2 crore plus people every year are visiting Jammu and Kashmir. So they wanted to bleed, they wanted to affect the economy of Jammu and Kashmir, and this intelligence point was missed out by the India's security agencies. That is why there was lack of presence of, there was complete absence of security personnel at the site of tourism, which is thronged by around 1,000 to 2,000 people every day, especially when we are looking towards the summer season, especially when the Amarnath Yatra is going to start. So these are the points after the Agniveer scheme, or the view that is being promoted, that we don't need the armed personnel, we need the armed equipment, we need more Rafales, we need more defense equipment, we need more of cyber security force rather than conventional security forces. That is why the combing operations, the sanitization of the jungle area before the beginning of Amarnath Yatra was given a go by. Not only this, guys, April 19, Prime Minister of India was supposed to visit Jammu and Kashmir, this region, to flag off a Vande Bharat train from there. But due to inclement weather, due to bad weather over there, Prime Minister rather launched the train, gave a green flag to the train in the via video conference. So if that would have taken place, maybe the security attention, the apparatus would have been mobilized and this war could have been prevented. So 2-3 points: Rashtriya Rifle centers that were there around the camps that were there around Pahalgam, they are not there now. Okay, then Article 370, after this, the view that has been created is everything is very good, everything is going on fine. That is why the intelligence agencies, the military, they stop gathering they become complacent. They stop gathering the intelligence. But after the this abrogation of Article 370 also, we in India have to realize that Jammu and Kashmir is a long-term game. It's not a 3 or 4 years affair that just by deletion of Article 370 you can rest in peace, you can be complacent that things will be very fine. Okay, so you have to see here that the psychological change that happens from one generation to another, that people who have bled, people who have seen the bad days of stone pelting, their brains cannot be whitewashed merely by whitewashing Constitution of India, merely by deleting Article 370 and Article 35A. The psychological change in the minds of the people, in the upcoming generation, the budding youth of Jammu and Kashmir will take at least 25 to 30 years to change. That yes, everything is fine in Jammu and Kashmir. Until then, we can't afford to be complacent. We can't afford to be happy with the fact that yes, since last 3 years, no attack has happened. Okay. So this no attack will happen. Now Arya is asking, is there any newspaper group without edit which sends the daily newspaper without fail? See, sharing of the newspaper is a copyright violation. So in my knowledge, there is no such thing. We haven't created at PW, any such group has not been created. Now a look at India's security anti-terror agencies. Quickly, I'll take you through these national agencies. We have National Investigation Agency. So it comes into it swings into action after the attack, post-attack. The NIA is India's primary agency for investigating and prosecuting terror cases. So it was created in the aftermath of 2008 26/11 Mumbai terror attack. Intelligence Bureau, it is a pre-attack body. It is a preemptive body. It seeks to prevent the attacks. It is India's internal agency responsible for gathering intelligence on terror organizations, terrorist organizations and activities. But as per various media reports, major part of IB's force, IB's personnel, they are targeting the political elements. Okay, what opposition leaders are doing. So IB is not confined to anti-terror activities. It is rather confined to anti-political activities. So we don't have a dedicated IB which is dedicated towards the security of India rather than just the security of politicians. So that is the point we miss out on. That is why these gaps are exploited by the terror agencies. Now RAW, everybody knows, Research and Analysis Wing. RAW is India's external agency, external intelligence agency. IB is internal, RAW is external, which plays a role in counter-terrorism efforts. So RAW does the good work, but again, the same problem as with IB, that many of the RAW personnel, majority of the RAW forces, the capital, etc., is dedicated towards the political figures, the anti-political activities against the government. It is more of a political RAW, not an intelligence RAW, not the security RAW. You get these points. Then National Counter-Terrorism Center. This center needs to be fully operational. This is not yet fully operational. The NCTC was proposed to coordinate the counter-terrorism efforts across agencies. So this will do the work of coordination once it is there. Every time there is an intelligence input, that intelligence input needs to be translated into action, needs to be transmitted to other agencies, other related agencies. This is where we miss out on in India. Any intelligence input gathered by the local police station, okay, this is how it works. In the British era also, the police chowki, okay, since the police is more in liaison, more in touch with the citizens, so that is the point from where we gather the intelligence. Okay, the people, as we see the tourist guides, etc. Okay, and people who are managing the horses, etc. there. So they come in touch with the police forces. Police forces escalate any intel input to IB or to higher agencies. Okay, that intelligence is put to action to prevent the attack. When Article 370 got abrogated in Pakistan, in Jammu and Kashmir, okay, we became complacent. We were happy with the fact that nothing will happen now. So we stopped gathering the information, the precious information from the citizens, from the tourist guides to police and the CRPF and the, these army personnel. They stopped getting, they lost the touch with the public. Losing touch with the public leads us to missing out on this important input. IB, Intelligence Bureau, RAW, etc., they also tap the phones. So tapping of phones is just one part, since the terrorist groups, they know that they will be on the radar of various agencies. They do not use cell phones, etc. these days. So that is why this attack was missed out. Okay. Translating any small piece of information gathered from citizens, from hotels, it is the job of the local police chowki or local residentials. So that is why we miss out on these things. Okay, when we translate this into action, we are able to make some plan for it. We beef up the security. Okay, we increase the security around the site, but this was not done despite the Prime Minister's visit that was supposed to happen there on April 19. Okay, so that is the point that we missed out on. Then we have a multi-agency center. The MAC is a platform for sharing intelligence and coordinating efforts among various agencies. So multi-agency center also did not do its job quite effectively. State level agencies. Each state in India has its own anti-terrorism squads and agencies that work in conjunction with the national agencies. So when all these agencies, they work in tandem, in the sense that IB is sharing data with RAW is sharing data with multi-agency center. Then we need to have operational national anti-terrorism center. Okay, so that is how the India's intelligence machinery should work, and they should transfer the information to the ground agencies. The information should be transmitted seamlessly, but that did not happen in case of many attacks in India. Okay, Pahalgam, etc. You talk about Mumbai terror attack, you talk about various attacks. Now coming to the various other aspects of the newspaper today, over a dozen annual reports of SC, ST and OBC panels yet to be made public. So National Commission for Scheduled Caste, is it a constitutional body? Please answer. National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, is it a constitutional body? Please answer. Again, National Commission for Backward Classes, that was recently made a constitutional body. Yes, okay. Article 335B was inserted in the Constitution of India. Despite these bodies being constitutional bodies, they are required to, despite the fact that they are required to present an annual report highlighting the problems being faced by scheduled caste people, scheduled tribe people and OBCs. Okay, annual reports are not being tabled, are not being presented to the President of India. When asked about why these reports are not being presented to the President of India, the chairpersons, the representatives of these bodies, they say that because of lack of personnel. Okay, so even though it's a constitutional mandate that under Article 340, 335, 335A, 335B, these articles, they govern these bodies. Okay, now please answer which article governs which of these bodies. I have written all the articles that are related to these bodies. Okay. Also answer, is their expenditure charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India? I give you this question. Okay, there was a question in UPSC 2023 also. This question, consider the following organizations or bodies in India. A. National Commission for Backward Classes. B. National Human Rights Commission. C. National Law Commission. D. National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission. How many of the above are constitutional? Change the question here. Which of the above are constitutional? Please answer in the comment section after duly going through the facts. Now I ask you a question of how many of these bodies have charged expenditure. Okay. whose expenditure is charged? National Commission for Backward Classes, National Commission for Human Rights, National Law Commission, etc. Okay, so many a times questions have been asked around these bodies. So what is the crux of the matter today? Due to resource constraints, these panels are now saying that they are not able to regularly fulfill their constitutional duty of presenting the data, presenting the annual report, the bare minimum expectation from any constitutional body. UPSC presents its annual report. Okay, so various other constitutional bodies, ministries and departments are required, even the non-constitutional bodies are required to present their annual reports, highlighting their achievements, highlighting how much are they able to live up to their objectives, the expectations from them, and what are the problems that they are facing, what are the recent trends in the working of these bodies. But National Commission for Schedule Caste did not submit its report. Okay, so have a look at this years here. NCSC and NCST have not submitted their annual report to the president for last 2 years. NCBC has not submitted its annual report for last 3 years. Okay, so this is the state of affairs with the constitutional bodies. It is a constitutional mandate, bare minimum expectation, as I said. Now, past recommendations have covered policy areas like reservation, creamy layer. So, a report by National Commission for Backward Classes will tell us that how much should be the income ceiling. Okay, what should be the ways to verify the bona fide or the authenticity of the backward classes certificate used by people. Many a times, even in the recent days, the result that was declared, the candidature of the declaration of the result by UPSC in the recent past, the candidature of around 200, if I'm not wrong, candidature of around 200 candidates has been upheld, or it has been reserved. Why? Because of lack of proper documents. Many of them out of those would not have provided their or other backward classes certificate or scheduled caste certificate in a proper manner. These constitutional bodies are required to timely submit their report to the President of India, and President will in turn, okay, so NCBC, NCSC, they will submit their report, and even NCST, okay, they will submit their report to the President of India. President is then required to table it on the table of the Parliament. Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, a copy of the report would be sent. Okay, the kind of excuses that these bodies are giving is resource constraints. Okay, that is why I ask you, is their expenditure charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India? Now, some of the reports have been submitted to the President, but President has not tabled them on the Parliament. So that is another problem. Report presented, submitted to the President, President is not doing its part. Why? Maybe President is also having resource constraint. Okay, President here means the government, the ministry concerned. Okay, so that is the problem here. Now, submitted yet not tabled in the Parliament. Beyond the missing recent reports, the NCSC's 2022-2023 report submitted in February 2024 and 5 annual reports of NCST have been submitted to the President but are yet to be tabled in the Parliament. So without these reports, there would be no data, there would be problem. Okay, so one aspect, then rest is all repetition of the same thing. Coming to the next topic of the day, overseas remittances by Indians under LRS down 29% in February. So what is LRS? It is liberalized remittance scheme. Okay, under liberalized remittance scheme, what happens? Indians are allowed, let's say there is an Indian student, okay, or any Indian tourist, Indian student or tourist can remit up to this, he is in India, okay, can remit up to US dollar 2,50,000 per annum, per year outside India to countries like Canada, Australia, where they go for studies. Okay, Canada, Australia, or you can say various other countries, London, etc., or even USA. Okay, so many students or many tourists, since they are not going out of India, they are not remitting this money. Okay, remit up to, they are allowed to send up to, remit simply means sending up to this much amount of money outside India. Okay, because of H1B visa reasons. What are the reasons behind it? Because of the strict norms of visa, because of the recession in these countries. We hear a lot about Europe going into recession. Since India itself is an emerging market, a high growth country, there is no reason for these people of India to go out of India, right? Okay, so this is how the things are happening. People are not going to Canada because of the recent hostility. We have to underline the reasons country wise. Australia, okay, fine. Things are fine between India and Australia. But why to get a degree? Why to go to Australia for tourism? Okay, then the other countries like Southeast Asian countries, we have good relations with. People are going to these countries more rather than going there. Then another reason for remitting money could be medical tourism for better treatment facilities. Okay, that is also not happening. Okay, medical treatment, etc. Indians who go out are allowed to take up to or send up to 2,50,000 rupees per annum, but this phenomena is not happening. So overseas remittances by Indians outside country, okay, under the liberalized remittance scheme of RBI fell by 29% to around 2,000 millions dollar 2,000 million in February 2025 from 2,768 around 2,800 million in January. Month on month, the number is coming down, which is a good thing. Why is it a good thing? Now I ask you a question for prelims. Is the reduction in the overseas remittance by Indians outside country, is it strengthening rupee? Is it going to strengthen rupee? Value of rupee will appreciate or value of rupee will depreciate? Okay, so please answer this question. Appreciate or depreciate, you have to answer. This is question number 1 with regard to this thing. Okay, so it preserves the India's forex reserves. When India's foreign exchange reserves are preserved, what will happen to the value of Indian rupee? Very simple question. Now coming to the other aspects. Okay, remittances for travel decreased by this much amount. Outflows for students abroad decreased. So this also, travel purpose decreased, students decreased. This decline is attributed to a sharp fall in the number of students going abroad. Why to go abroad when you have better facilities in India? Okay, and the outside degrees conferred by US, London, Birmingham University, etc., that is not going to fetch you a good job in that country because the visa norms are tough. So getting a degree, paying the fee where UK is going to earn from you, London University, universities of London, Birmingham, etc., they are going to earn from Indians. That is an easier way. But getting a job is tougher. So why would they go there? To burn their money? No one would go. Right? First time in 4 years, the number of Indian students going to Canada, I told you hostility between India and Canada. The US and UK simultaneously declined by at least 25%. So USA, make America great again. Don't let Indians come into America. Don't let the people from developing countries come into America. UK recession is being faced. Rather, these leaders of these countries are coming to India for signing free trade agreement so that they can sell their goods to us. So why would they? How would they be able to give better jobs to Indians? Okay, travel industry sources also noted that many people dropped or postponed travel plans due to global economic and market volatility. People are facing recession, their pay cuts, etc., job uncertainty due to the trade tariff war started by Donald Trump himself. So that is a thing, that is how this affects USA and other developed countries itself. Remittances for investment in equity and debt increased. So Indians are remitting money. If there is an Indian, he is more likely to send out his money from India for investment. Okay, for investment rather than for travel purpose, rather than for school fee, college fee. They are, Indians are sending money outside India. Outside remittances are happening for investment in other markets, dollar, etc., crude, forex, etc., etc. Okay, union budget 2025. What did the union budget do? If you are sending money outside of India, you are required to pay TCS, tax collected at source. Okay, so that means this tax will be collected at source from rupees 7 lakh to 10 lakh rupees. That is why the increase in tax, earlier it was 7 lakh rupees, now it is going to 10 lakh rupees. So this is why people are not sending money outside. This change is expected to benefit travel, foreign exchange, outbound tourism, education and airline sector. So these are all factual things. Only thing that you are required to know is overseas remittances by Indians under LRS are going to they have already reduced because of various reasons that we have understood. Okay, now liberalized remittance scheme, resident individuals, not only the citizens, resident individuals, the term is different here. What do we mean by resident individuals? Resident individuals are the individuals who have stayed in India for 182 days out of 365 days in the previous financial year. Okay, preceding financial year. Resident individuals are the ones whose income is going to be taxed in India. Okay, they can remit up to $250,000 per financial year for permissible current and even capital account transactions. Current means student fee, etc., college fee, etc. Capital means investment, long-term investment beyond a period of 1 year means capital in the financial parlance. Now, these transactions include education, medical treatment abroad, property purchase is capital. Best example of purchasing, if I want to purchase a restaurant or a petrol pump in Canada. Okay, so that will be a capital investment. And foreign stock investment, again a capital thing. Paying the education fee, etc., medical treatment, tourism, that is current account. So these $250,000 every year per Indian resident is allowed by RBI. Okay, with the information being provided to RBI about the purpose, etc., that will be done by your branch, HDFC, ICICI, SBI. From whichever bank you are transferring the money, the bank will inform RBI that this money is being transferred. Okay, now Iran, you own yourself, you do not have the food to eat, you yourself are facing the crisis, and then you offer to mediate between India and Pakistan. Right, so there is a Hindi phrase, I'm not mentioning it here because this is an English news analysis. So they themselves do not have the arms to eat, ALMS, but they are offering peanuts to others. Right, so as tensions between India and Pakistan rose in the wake of Pahalgam terror attack, Iran says it is ready to mediate. It is ready to allow the two countries use its good offices, Iranian good offices, to mediate and to strike a peace deal. Even as another editorial we are going to discuss in a short while talks about Iran, how Iran faces a threat from the United States of America if the nuclear talks that are going on between Iran and USA are not culminating in the manner the US wants, are not going to conclude. Okay, so here it is saying that this message came at a time when Delhi and Islamabad, they had launched diplomatic measures against each other. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi expressed Iran's view of India and Pakistan as brotherly neighbors with deep cultural ties. Okay, so this is how the offer has come. Anyways, it is Iran. Iran is itself embroiled in a lot of sanctions from America. Now the peace deal is being proposed between the two countries. Another interesting article of the day, the India's decision on Indus casts shadow on the renewal of India-Bangladesh Ganga Water Treaty. Mohammad Yunus has been quite vocal in the recent past, right? He's been digs at India, that India's this northeastern sisters, they can be exploited by China. It can be considered as an extended market for China, including Bangladesh. Then recently, the Foreign Affairs Minister of Pakistan was supposed to visit Bangladesh. And recently, Bangladesh held talks with, Bangladesh had foreign secretary level talks with Pakistan. Earlier, Bangladesh was East Pakistan. We and Indians, the India got the Bangladesh the liberation in 1971. But because of the change of the political leader there, Mohammad Yunus has come now. He is taking salvos at India. Okay, he is pro-China, he is projecting himself as pro-Pakistan. That is why the ties between Bangladesh and Pakistan and the ties between Bangladesh and China are seen on the uptick side, even as the ties between India and Bangladesh are deteriorating. Since the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, the India-friendly Prime Minister of Bangladesh, on August 5, 2024. Okay. Now, how is India going to teach lessons? Recently, we closed the land, the trade route, that was the transit that was given to Bangladeshi goods. From the goods can exit Bangladesh and they can reach Nepal, Bhutan and other countries of South Asian region via the India's land route. Okay, so the corridor that we had provided to Bangladeshi goods to move out of India, to goods to exit India, to exit Bangladesh and to be exported to the rest of the South Asian countries, has now been closed. That is affecting the Bangladeshi economy. Now, to affect the Bangladeshi agriculturists, the farmers over there, India can weaponize the Ganga river as well. Okay, how? The expert, the water expert from Bangladesh himself has commented that as India is weaponizing its rivers, okay, and as India has weaponized Indus water treaty that India never did since 1960, India might even think of weaponizing waters of Ganga river. Since Bangladesh is a lower riparian state, let's understand, water of Ganga flows from India towards Bangladesh. What are the major rivers from the water of which flows from India and then goes to Bangladesh? Kushiara river, the Padma river, Ganga, the Jamuna as it is called, Brahmaputra is called in Bangladesh, the Meghna, the Barak river. Now I want you to arrange these rivers from north to south. Number one, mention their length, okay, and which is the largest river in the sense of water flow to Bangladesh. These are important questions for you to answer, okay. Now, and their tributaries are integral. Bangladesh derives its irrigation needs. Of the 57 important rivers of Bangladesh, 56 flow from India to Bangladesh. Now imagine the importance of these rivers for the agricultural economy of Bangladesh. Like Indus is important for Pakistan, this Ganga water, the tributaries of Ganga and other rivers flowing from Assam into Bangladesh, they are also important. Okay, so this is how Teesta river, another major bone of contention between Bangladesh and India, has been Teesta water. Since West Bengal did not agree, West Bengalian, the Chief Minister of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee Madam of Trinamool Congress, did not agree to signing of Teesta water agreement between India and Bangladesh. That is why we are not sharing the Teesta river water. Now please answer, what are the important tributaries of Teesta river? Okay. Tributaries of Teesta river. Tributaries of Teesta river, and what is the length of Teesta river on the Indian side, and what is the length of Teesta river on the Bangladeshi side? These questions are very, very important. Now, what is the India Brahmaputra Ganga Water Treaty? This treaty was signed in 1996 when India was headed by the Prime Minister H.D. Deve Gowda, and on their side it was Sheikh Hasina. Okay, so Dhaka has always pressed for continuation of the talks on developing water sharing mechanisms with India, even when the bilateral ties were relatively turbulent owing to different political regimes in Bangladesh. So water wars with India's neighbors, India can start these things. According to Food and Agricultural Organization of United Nations, the ratio of Bangladesh's external dependency for water is over 90%. If there are 57 major rivers, of these 57 major rivers, 56 are originating from India. Okay, Bangladesh has over 230 rivers, no doubt about it. But of these 230, major rivers are 57. Okay, these are transboundary rivers that flow from India into Bangladesh, 56 rivers. So this water expert, whatever his name is, that is not important, but he belongs to Bangladesh only, and he's written this article that Bangladesh might be facing this crisis in the near term, as we are due to renew this treaty in 2026. This treaty was signed in 1996. So it is due for renewal in 2026. India might not renew this treaty, thereby depriving the Bangladesh of the share of water that it is getting now from the Ganga and its various tributaries and other rivers like Barak river, etc., that we have discussed. Okay, so these things are there. Water wars. Professor Aninun Nishat, the name of the person is, he says that the 1996 Ganga Waters Agreement might not be renewed. The Indo-Bangladesh Ganga Water Treaty was signed on December 12, 1996 between Prime Minister H.D. Devagowda and Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina during what was the first prime ministerial tenure of Sheikh Hasina. Okay, so this is all in news analysis for today. Water wars, weaponizing rivers, the treaty will come up for renewal in 2026 now, and the ties between India and Bangladesh are at their lowest in the recent times. In the last 10-15 years, we have never seen such a deterioration of ties as is being witnessed during the brief tenure of Muhammad Yunus, the advisor to the Bangladesh, or misadvisor to the Bangladesh. Okay, so please answer all the questions and do let me know if this time of 8:30 a.m. is better than the time of 9:30 a.m. or say 8 a.m. in the morning, insofar as this news analysis is concerned. Now the PDF and various questions, various other questions related to the news analysis of the day will be shared on the Telegram channel. The link of the Telegram channel is given in the description box of this video. You can check out the link. You can subscribe to the Telegram channel for updates regarding the news analysis every day. This was all in news analysis today. Thank you guys. Bye-bye. Have a good day. Have a pleasant weekend. And also plan for the next week. Sunday is fun day, but at the same time, you should plan for the next week also. With this, I wrap up the session, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a great day.